Good news can often get overlooked or buried by the negative in our everyday lives. So let's change that. I'm Adrianna.
And I'm Wyatt.
We're just two ordinary people without any special qualifications or anything trying to navigate life. We invite you to join us as we share wholesome stories, news articles of hope, and ideas about how we can all make the world just a little bit brighter. We are uplifting positive stories. Welcome back to another episode of Uplifting Positive Stories. It's our 50th episode.
Happy 50th.
Woo!
Not quite a year yet, but we're at 50.
There's been some really awesome episodes that we've gotten to find some really fun stories along the way. And it's getting to the point where I'm like forgetting topics that we've even done because we've done 50 episodes now. So if we ever repeat a topic, I'm so sorry. But also, there's so many great stories. So we got to find ways to feed them in.
And most of the topics kind of interweave, come back around.
Exactly.
Like they're not on their own isolated islands. They're on one gigantic continent of
positivity.
Of ideas and positivity,
Exactly. Like today's, it's kind of similar, I'm pretty sure, to a past episode we have, but it's another way of looking at it, I think. This one is all about supporting people's goals. And so, like I said, I think
like getting to 50 episodes on a podcast.
That was a goal of ours. We wanted to be consistent by doing it for every week. And there have been times where we've been really, really busy, and it's been really hard because it's hard to find time to record and to edit and to do all these things and stuff. But we made it. We've done 50 episodes, and hopefully we can get to 100
and more
and beyond
with your continued support and listenership.
Yes, and
please
thank you everybody
for
listening. It's been really awesome. So thank you for that. Well, to dive right in, our first story for today comes from True Off My Chest, and it is titled, I Asked a Friend a Huge Favor. Here we go. Throwaway, because I don't want the people mentioned in the story to find this, and sorry for formatting issues, I'm on mobile. So for background, I have a sister who's always wanted to sell some of her homemade trinkets at a local craft fair. Our mother runs a very small online business. It's so small that she can't even claim it on taxes because it doesn't make much. Oof. And my sister recently started casually selling things on our mother's business site with our mother's permission. A few months ago, I can't remember if it was in October, November, or even December because I have a very bad memory when it comes to dates, my sister and mother teamed up to do a craft fair. Nobody bought anything from my sister. She had made a lot of slime, melted some crayons into fun molds, and she poured her soul into making some paper flowers out of cupcake wrappers. My sister was dejected and about ready to call it quits when I came up with an idea. I don't hang out with a lot of people. I only have 2 really good friends that I hang with regularly at school. One friend of mine lived really close to the location of the craft fair, and this friend owed me a favor. So I managed to convince my sister to go check out the other crafters to give me some time. Our mother had gone to get us food only a short walk away, so I had limited time. I pulled out my phone and sent a Discord message to my friend that lives relatively close to the craft fair. I asked that friend to come to the craft fair and act like it was a coincidence that they saw us there. I then asked them to buy just one thing, and I promised, even swore on my right hand, that I would pay them back. My sister came back, and so did our mother. It was a few hours later, and I was losing hope that my friend would show up. When they did. They showed up and bought one of everything for $5. Not the exact amount, but that's neither here nor there. The smile on my sister's face was priceless. She was excited that she was able to sell a few items. I don't have the heart to tell her that I set it up. Only my mother knows, and she hasn't told my sister either. I needed to get this off my chest or I would have cracked under the pressure. I probably forgot a few details, and I will try my best to answer any questions.
That's sweet.
Way to support her sister and make her feel like it was a worthwhile venture, making all those things to try to sell them and get that little entrepreneurial spirit, you know, because it can be really hard when you're an entrepreneur starting out and stuff and feeling like, well, is it worth my time and effort to do this? Am I wasting my time? All those kind of things.
I mean, it's deflating when people are walking by and stuff, like we can only relate a little bit with like a couple of the wedding shows we've done. Like overall, they've been very good and very positive experiences. But
we're wedding videographers.
Yeah, but especially like early on, when we first starting shows, like there definitely were periods of time where we're just kind of standing there like, hi, and we're like waving to people, and they're just kind of like
walking past,
like looking away or not avoiding eye contact. Oh, okay, we're just saying hi.
Exactly.
Like, and other people would eventually come and talk to us, but like there's always periods that like people who are just not interested in videography at all and just don't even want to look at you.
Exactly.
Because it's not like it's photography.
Right.
That's just so I can understand
That feeling.
that feeling, to only then like have it be worsened by the fact that nobody bought something.
Right.
But then to have somebody buy something that's
Bought a few things, bought one of everything that she made. So that's really, really cool. So yeah, supporting her sister. I thought that was really, really sweet. All right, on to our next story. This one also comes from True Off My Chest, and this one is titled, My Older Brother, 34, Made His First Bucket List and I Can't Stop Crying. Here we go. This is my first time posting on Reddit, so I'm sorry if I format the post wrong or anything. I just wanted to share this with someone.
We need some like confident formators
I
here.
know,
Like
this
two in a
seems to
row,
be a
like
theme.
apologizing for their formatting before they even get into it.
I know.
Jeez Louise. Have you heard of a self-fulfilling prophecy, my guy?
I, 26 female, am a second child in a family of 10. My mother loved being pregnant. She loved the attention she got when she was pregnant, but she hated actually raising kids. We all have different fathers, 5 dads. Our older brother, 34, was our rock growing up. He was the one who took care of us, made sure we always had something to eat, came to our shows and games, took us out on trips and stuff. He never did anything for himself, always just thought about us. He started working as soon as he graduated high school and did college online because 10 mouths to feed was a lot, and our mother simply did not care. My brother has been dating his fiance, 32 male, for like 6 years now. They met during his in-person graduation ceremony. They are perfect for each other. Last week, my younger brother brought his girlfriend to meet us all, and my older brother did the typical parent thing and busted out albums of all of his baby pictures. We were looking around the albums when I found a new one, which was filled with pictures of my brother and his fiance in different places and activities, and the end of the album, there was a huge bucket list that my brother made. It was filled with a bunch of simple activities like ride a roller coaster for the first time, take a pottery class, eat at a 5-star restaurant, bake a cake, go to Build-A-Bear. Seeing the photos of my brother grinning wildly doing all the activities just broke my heart. It never even crossed my mind of all the simple stuff that my brother never got to do. It's been a week and I still find myself just randomly crying thinking about my brother making his bucket list all excited and then all the pictures just grinning proudly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sweet. So an example there that like goals can be little things. They don't have to be really grand things. So that idea of making a bucket list of things that you want to do. Maybe it is you've never ridden a roller coaster and you want to ride a roller coaster for the first time, or it's going to Build-A-Bear, or things that you maybe as a kid were like, that'd be so fun to do and you just never have done. It's okay to have those little goals, and it's also awesome to support those goals in other people that you know, like your friends and stuff, and be like, hey, is there something that you always wanted to do that maybe you've never done? Like, sometimes you'd be surprised at the little things that's like, oh, I really, really would love to go to Build-A-Bear. Like as a kid, I always wanted to, and I never got to do it. And be able to be like, hey, let's go to Build-A-Bear. Let's do it. And it's little things like that, being able to support people's little goals. And it's awesome that her brother's fiance was that person for him. To be like, what are those things that we should do a bucket list? Let's go do them and take pictures while we do it and stuff, like to remember these fun moments. So that's really, really awesome.
I'm glad he was able to find somebody. Before I got to that part of the story, I was like, oh man, it's gonna be hard for him to find somebody because he's so busy with,
school,
taking
care of 10 kids,
work.
Yeah, crazy.
And being a caretaker.
Yeah, that's a lot.
How do you have time?
Yeah, exactly. So awesome that his life is turning out to be really positive, and he's got a good partner, it sounds like, and yeah, it's very sweet.
Find peace,
and his sister
and
really cares about him.
And, joy in the
little
turmoil, the busyness of it all.
Right, exactly. So yeah, just really wholesome story. All right, on to our next story. This one comes from the subreddit Wholesome Memes, and it is titled A Wholesome Story of an Artist. This was a screenshot that they posted on there. I'm not sure where they got it from, but it's really cute. Here we go. When I was 12, I babysat this girl for a few years, and she would come to me and show me her art, drag me by my wrists, and point at the pieces she'd made during the week, and she'd be like, do the voice. And I'd put on a sport announcer Olympic-style voice, and I'd be like, such form, this level of coloring. Why, I haven't seen such perfection in Crayola in a long time. And what is this? Why, Jeff, now this is a true risk. It seems she's made a monochrome pink canvas.
Nice.
I haven't seen this attempted since winter 1932. And I gotta say,
1932?
And I gotta say, Jeff, it's absolutely splendid. And she'd fall back giggling. At the end of every night, she'd check with me. Did you really like it? And I'd say yes and talk about something I noticed and tuck her in. She was just accepted into 3 major art schools.
Oh, wow.
She wrote me a letter. Inside was a picture from when she was younger, monochrome pink. Thank you, it said, to somebody who saw the best in me.
That's cute.
Yeah, right? So sweet. And
That's fun.
yeah, very, very sweet. And it's just an example of, especially with young kids, supporting their goals and their dreams and stuff like that, because you never know, it could really make a huge impact. So really, really cool. All right, on to our next one. This one comes from the subreddit Ask Reddit, and this question was, what is your most wholesome story? I love this story. Here we go. When I was in first grade, I was so good at coloring. It was my jam. My mom taught me to color, and I was so good at rainbows. One day in class, they announced a coloring competition, and the prize was to win a trip to see the local football club for the day at the stadium. I didn't follow football, but a kid in my class I knew was a huge fan of that team because he had the pencil cases and shirts. But he had severe learning disabilities of some kind. When we were all quietly coloring and mine was looking amazing, I looked back and saw that he was crying in frustration. He wanted it so bad, but he couldn't work the pencils. So I submitted mine in his name and it won. I'll never forget the day he did show and tell with all the photos and his signed jersey. He had the best day, and the team went above and beyond to make his day. Isn't that awesome?
That's cute.
She got to help him with his little dream of going to see his favorite team. I was like, oh, so, so sweet. First grader going out of their way to do that.
You know, they said that kind of like kindness from a first grader. You know, it's a pretty big sacrifice to give up your own work for somebody else to take credit for and then win a competition over it.
Exactly. But how awesome. So, so sweet. Here's another little story that I thought was really sweet. This one comes from the subreddit Ask Reddit, and it is titled, What's a random act of kindness someone did for you that you'll never forget, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant? Here we go. When I was around 8 or 9, my school was having a little sellout where you could buy toys and books. One of the things they were selling was this Barbie doll that I wanted so badly. I had saved up for an entire week to buy it, but I ended up dropping the money I had when I was walking to school. Sadly, I didn't notice that I had dropped it until I was in line to buy the doll.
Oh, no.
I don't think I've ever cried as much as I did that day. Anyways, a random kid noticed me and gave me his money so I could buy the Barbie doll. I will never forget that kid, and I hope he's doing well now. LOL.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and just an example of helping people, even if it's like a small goal. There's been so many stories of people like helping out by giving somebody some cash and stuff like that to get the thing that they really wanted at the store or whatever. So again, it doesn't have to be big goals. It doesn't have to be huge gestures to help support somebody when they have a goal or they have something they're working toward. But it's just an example. And again, kids have been a huge proponent of this in like a lot of the stories, and us as adults, we have even more access to resources and things that we know how to do. So if kids can do it, we can do it.
What a bummer. Like, she had the money
and then dropped it.
That wasn't
That's
the issue.
So sad after bringing that, especially for like $20 for a kid is a lot. You know, so I'm sure that was a big deal to have saved up $20 for this Barbie and then only to lose it. But then a kid stepped up to help out. And again, it's if a kid can do that, we can do it for other people too. So
it's true.
All right. So this story, just as a little forewarning, it does deal with grief. It talks about a spouse that has passed away. So if you're not feeling up for listening to a story about that, completely understand. I will put the time code in the description below. But it is a very wholesome story.
They say, like, I don't want to think about spouse grief.
But it's really, really sweet, though.
All
and
right, I'm
about
trusting
fulfilling
you.
her dream.
All right, I'm trusting you.
Sweet. Okay, here we go. So this was posted on Ask Reddit. And the question was, serious, what is a wholesome story you know about your grandparents? So here we go. The wholesome story takes a little setup. Let me begin by saying my grandfather served in the Royal Canadian Navy during the Second World War. He served as a wireless operator, the radio operator, aboard the HMCS Drumheller. He was off the beaches on D-Day, and he lost all hearing in one ear when he was turned the wrong way while a nearby British cruiser was doing a fire support mission. He didn't tell anyone because he didn't want to be put ashore. He did his job with the other ear until the war was over. 40-something years later, sitting around a Thanksgiving dinner table, my father is telling his father-in-law something and he thinks he's being ignored. My grandfather catches my dad talking out of the corner of his eye and says, "Oh, sorry, I'm totally deaf in that ear. War wound." "War wound?" says my father. "You don't have a war wound." My father is an accountant. He did my grandparents' taxes, and there are veteran benefits involved in long-term disabilities acquired during wartime service. So, my grandfather tells the whole story and explains that because he didn't tell anyone at the time, he didn't tell anyone in a position of authority when he got home either, because he didn't want to get in trouble or cause any fuss. My father wouldn't hear of it. He did all the paperwork necessary to get my grandfather a lump sum for benefits he should have been receiving, and moving forward, he would get a check from the government every month. We now come to the wholesome part. About a dozen years ago, my grandfather passed away. Among his papers, there was a letter from my grandmother. It read, "If you're reading this, I've gone first. I confess I'm glad. I don't know how I would have gone on without you. You were always stronger than me. I know how you are feeling right now. Do you remember that thing about my ear? We spent the lump sum, but I opened up a new account for the money they were sending me every month. We didn't need it, and I was saving it for this. Take it. Spend it on anything that is going to make you feel just a little bit better. Don't worry what it is or what it costs. You can afford it. Live the rest of your life. We'll see each other again." My grandmother took an all-expenses-paid trip across Canada and back by train with my mother. They spent 3 days going through the Rockies in that train with glass domes. She could stop wherever she wanted, get off the train for a day or two, and then catch the next train coming through. It had always been a childhood dream of hers to do that trip. It was no substitute for my grandfather, of course not, but the wonder of it did get her over the first shock of grief. My grandmother is still with us. She turns 97 this August, and she still talks about that train trip as one of the great adventures of her life, the last wonderful gift of her husband of 63 years. Yeah.
That's sad, but also wholesome.
Very, very wholesome, though.
So, is the grandparents the father's parents or the mother's parents?
I believe it's mother's parents, because I think he said that was his father, his father-in-law to his dad.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
That part threw me off.
Yeah.
But at least they were able to do a fun trip together and stuff, like to make the most of it, you know?
Right.
A memorable experience that they'll probably like a once in a lifetime experience, once in a lifetime trip, you know, and they kind of do together.
Right. And it's just, I thought it was a really awesome example of taking, you know, this horrible thing, you know, losing a partner and stuff, and still going on to do something you've always wanted to do, and not like letting it stop you from living life, and, you know, using that. And especially like kudos to the OP's grandfather, that he wrote that letter kind of urging her to do so, because it's hard after you lose somebody to continue to have these big goals and pursue them, because it just kind of stops you in your tracks, from what I've heard and stuff. So to continue to make that decision to go on that big trip and stuff that she's always wanted to do, and for OP's mom to be supportive to go on that trip with the grandmother, to be able to support her dream of being able to go on this big trip to Canada that she's always wanted to do by train, and be gone for that long, because it sounds like it was a pretty long trip, right? But to go with her on that trip and stuff, that's supporting that dream and stuff. And I'm sure it was hard being on a trip. I mean, it would have been way harder to go on that trip by herself after, you know, losing what would have been her travel partner on a trip like that. And so for the mom to go with her and support her on that trip, I think is really, really awesome.
And they could kind of grieve together, you know, in a sense. And like grieve / you know, kind of try to celebrate life in the memory a bit. Right,
exactly. So yeah, like I said, it's a sad story, but also it's incredibly wholesome. And yeah, it just hit me in the feels, so wanted to include it. This next story is from the subreddit TIFU, which is basically Today I Screwed Up. And it is titled TIFU by finding out what my 8-year-old son was saving for. Okay, here we go.
Okay. Why is that a screw up?
Before we start this, I want to tell everyone this is a happy TIFU. When I was a 16-year-old, I was stupid. I didn't wear protection and I got a girl pregnant. I was shocked. I never expected having a kid that early, and I don't know if I regret it or not. Almost all my regrets washed away when my son was born. For privacy purposes, we will call him Rory. I am 24 now, and my son is 7, almost 8 now. He is the smartest and most loving kid I could have ever asked for. His mom had left when he was around 2. When I tried to sue for child support, the judge sided with her, quoting that I was the father and needed to step up. Ever since then, it has been me and Rory against the world. I was a single dad to Rory from then on. I had a few girlfriends, but nothing serious. I left my parents' place and got a small apartment. I dropped out of high school, which I still immensely regret, but hey, life happens. During this time, my neighbors, God bless them, helped me raise my son. They were an older couple next door whose kids had moved out long before, so they were fine babysitting him after school, late shifts, etc. I am a manager at McDonald's. I make lousy money, but it was enough to get by. Then 2 years prior, our crappy building manager raised the rent for everyone, and I had to work even harder for a place to live during the pandemic.
Of course.
My parents had left the state, and I wasn't ready to uplift my kid's entire life because his dad couldn't provide for him. Every birthday, since before he was 3, I believe, I took Rory to Golden Corral, usually on his birthday, but there were more occasions we went. It was really good for him, and he really enjoyed it. I haven't been able to take him for the past 2 years due to money being very tight. This is important for later. Sometimes I will get tipped at McDonald's, a quarter here, a dime there, $1 here and there. I'll bring it to him every day and give it to Rory to save. Well, 2 days ago, Rory brings me his money jug and dumps it all out in front of me. He was so excited and began counting it out. There was around $40 there, and he jumped up excitedly. I had asked him, "What's up, little buddy?" When I tell you guys, my heart broke. My son asked me if it was enough to go to the corral for his birthday. A piece of me shattered inside. I didn't think he remembered the Golden Corral. I told him we couldn't go to the bank tomorrow and exchange it for cash. That night, I ugly cried in my bedroom. I felt like a failure because I couldn't give him everything he's ever wanted. I began researching furthering my education. Well, yesterday, as soon as the bank opened, I took my son and we exchanged the money for cash. I then drove us to Golden Corral, and we were there for 2 hours. My kid was so happy, and I was stupid because I just assumed he forgot this place. We get the all-you-can-eat buffet for 2 for $30. Today, I cried again in my room. I've never been good at saving money, but his birthday is next month, and I'm going to do my best to take him every few months. So, other parents of Reddit, can I ask some advice of how you deal with the guilt of having to say no? Again, this is a happy TIFU.
That's a journey.
Yeah, but still.
Judge really just kind of left him hanging there with.
I guess so.
She could just leave and not have to support at all. I feel like if it's reversed, if there was a reverse roles, that wouldn't slide.
Right.
Nor should it, You're just abandoning the kid.
Right, exactly. But
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, but it sounds like he's an awesome dad and so sweet that he made it work so that his kid and him could go to Golden Corral for his birthday and stuff. And again, it shows that your little goals don't have to be a big thing, but it can mean a lot to the person. And for his kid, it was going to Golden Corral with his dad on his birthday, And so...
Well, that also kind of speaks to things that the significance of things that to you might seem insignificant.
Right. But to him, it's a big goal. Being able to go there for his birthday.
The Golden Corral is actually a special place.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like it's weird. We're weird with restaurants, we have special memories with restaurant stuff growing up.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like for you, it's like what I'm gonna guess. It's either Old Country Buffet or like Red Lobster or your
both
two.
of those. Yeah. Growing up, that's where I usually went for my birthdays. Those were whenever I got to choose. Those were usually where I went. So yeah. And then yours, you also said Old Country Buffet was a big one for you.
I mean, that's when we went to. I wouldn't say that was one of the special.
What would you say was one of the special
Probably
ones?
Olive Garden.
Olive Garden? Yeah, Olive Garden is pretty great. And also, can I just say how sweet that is? That this one hit me in the feels of the dad giving him his tip money for him to put in his little jar. And it says in the edit below that it was a cotton candy container he got from Christmas a year ago. And that's what he puts the coins in to save up. I'm like, that's freaking adorable. What a sweet dad.
Also a good counting exercise for the kid.
Right, exactly. Being able to count down. I got $40.
$40 in coins is a lot of money.
I know, but if he's getting coins every single day, his dad's working, and he's just saving them up. And so sweet that it was, not even like a toy for himself. It was an experience of going out to dinner with his dad. That's so freaking cute. I was just, this whole story. I wasn't sure what episode this one really fit in because but I feel like it's just a good example of, again, it doesn't have to be a big goal and you can support that in ways. And this dad is supporting his kid's goals by giving him his tip money to be able to save it towards whatever he wants to save it towards, which is instilling also in that kid a good mentality of saving up his money for things, because coins by themselves, it takes a while to add up. I remember me and my brother used to do that with we'd get, quarters sometimes from various things like chores and stuff like that. And then sometimes we get bigger amounts of money by doing a bunch of chores around the house and stuff.
Yeah.
And it helped us to learn how to save money for things and stuff.
Listen, that's child labor, and
Nuh-uh,
the police
it's
are on their
chore
way to
money.
your parents' houses right now.
Yeah, you know.
Just kidding.
But like, I remember my brother and I had a big goal of getting a Wii. That was like a huge deal when it came out. And so we pooled
Yeah,
our
same.
money
I had that.
together.
I had that same goal.
Yep, exactly. So we just pooled up our money and we made our goal. It took a long time, but I remember we even had a garage sale like to sell our toys to try to save up money for it and stuff. That was our goal, and it was super sweet. My mom even made like brownies and lemonade and stuff like that to have sold as well at the garage sale to help our money and stuff like that, so we could make our goal. Yeah, so there's a lot of ways you can support people's goals and stuff. And lots of examples in this episode, like, you know, asking your friends to come and support somebody's little small business, like with a sister, and, you know, being a patron if somebody's business, if they work at a business or if they own it or whatever, that can be super, super supportive. So all sorts of cool ideas between all these different stories. So a bunch of feel-good, just little stories in this episode. And now we go on to our news article. This one is from fox29.com, and it is titled, Teen Provides Senior Ailing Dogs with Special Outings in Local Charity. So this is about a local teen in Pennsylvania who does a special charity. It is called the Best Day Ever Charity. The kid's name is Alex Flowers. And he does it for sick and senior dogs. People put in requests of what they think would be the best day ever for their sick or senior dog. And then he tries to raise money to be able to fulfill these dogs' wishes. And some of them, so for example, there was a dog named Aspen who is an almost 9-year-old German Shepherd who's losing his eyesight. So this owner put in a request for a hike in Valley Forge National Historic Park, and it was fulfilled. The owner of that dog was quoted in this article saying, I think someone of that age getting out and doing this on their own, I think it's inspirational, quite honestly. I wasn't doing something like that when I was that young, so I think it's incredible that he started this, and you know, it's taking off for him. Other best days have included a day at the beach in Jupiter, Florida, frolicking in the water, a hike in Bushkill Falls in the Poconos for Max, who lost his owner, to Scout, who has arthritis and had unlimited use of a pool for the summer. So all kinds of requests that people put in. Alex, the guy who started this, he does a lot of the local requests, but now he's starting to enlist other people around in different states and cities to help out with fulfilling the different requests. So yeah, he just had this really awesome idea, and he loved dogs, and he thought it was a cool opportunity to give something special for dogs that, you know, are getting up there in age, and just, I'm sure it means so much to the owners that they might not be able to fulfill those things themselves, especially for people that, you know, maybe aren't able to go on like a long hike somewhere or do any of those kind of things, or have access to a pool themselves for their dog to swim in, and being able to have that stuff for their dog and being able to be like, I gave my dog a good day because of this kid, because of this thing they started. What a cool idea, and awesome that he's been able to fulfill a lot of these people's wishes for their dogs.
Harkening back to the earlier story in the episode, are there any bucket list items that growing up, that like a small one that you always wanted to do growing up that either you haven't gone to do yet, or that you have gone to do in like recent memory?
Oh, that's a good question.
I can give you one quick if it would help you to.
I guess I have one that.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't. Well, I guess it's not small though. This was a big one.
Like, it can be kind of big.
Yeah, I guess this is a big one. But when I was
just thinking not like, you know, like going to Italy or something.
I mean, it was a trip.
Sure, but like not like the big grand like.
Okay.
You know, we have those ones. Everybody's got those big ones. You know, I was wondering what the slightly more attainable ones were. This
was one. I was obsessed with Harry Potter growing up, and when I found out that they were building the Universal Studios Wizarding World of Harry Potter park, I was like, I have to go there. I have to go. And for years we couldn't go, and I was like, I really want to go there. That's like my dream, to be able to walk through Hogwarts. That'd be incredible. And then once I graduated from high school, my dad took me and my brother there. And it was like the most amazing thing walking into Diagon Alley. I was like, my childhood heart. Like, I found myself, I went on the Gringotts ride there, which is incredible, by the way. And I just found myself like tears in my eyes. I'm like, why am I crying? I'm like, I'm probably like my childhood like self and my nostalgia is just like, this is amazing. This is the coolest thing ever. Because I knew as a kid I would have loved that. And it was still really cool even as an adult. But it was just, yeah, it was something that I knew that as a kid I would have just been absolutely over the moon. Like I'm in heaven walking through Hogwarts and stuff. So yeah, I think that was probably one of them. And then now we've been back, the two of us and stuff. And I'm actually going back there in a few days.
Actually, you have been there.
That's true. By the time this episode actually comes out, I'll have gone there. But for my friend's bachelorette party, she also loves Harry Potter. There's 3 of us, and we're actually going to go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
We'll have gone by the time this comes out.
Gone to Wizarding World. We've even got like shirts. So hers says like, I solemnly swear that I'm getting married on her shirt. And then ours say House Bachelorette. It's really cute. It's going to be really fun. But anyways, that would have been a dream fulfilled for me as a kid for sure. How about for you?
Marrying you. Just
Aww.
Marrying the best girl. This thing.
That's sweet.
I didn't dream that as a kid specifically. But going to Disney World.
Going to Disney World, really?
Well, I never went as a kid.
Aww.
Both my siblings went as a kid when they were like super young, and my parents said that was a mistake because they don't remember it. And I'm like, so what? They probably loved it at the time,
I'm
and so
sure.
they didn't bring me because I was the youngest one. So we just never went.
Oh, yeah, we went to
now,
Disney World as our honeymoon.
Yeah, and a few times since then.
And riding the Star Wars.
Yeah, that wasn't there when I was a kid.
No, but that would have been, I'm sure.
Oh, I wish
dream.
that the build a lightsaber was there when I was a kid.
Oh my gosh,
that's gonna be when we have kids. Something I'm very excited for is to bring our kid to have their lightsaber built.
That'd
like
be
that would
awesome.
be like I'd love for them to build their lightsaber and then go face Darth Vader, and like go
This
train.
is your
It's
mission
their
now.
Yeah, basically.
That would be really cute.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be really cute.
It'd be really sad if they don't like Star Wars.
Oh no,
I'll parented wrong if they don't, but who knows?
Oh, I get you. With that, we will end today's episode. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you'll tune in for next week's episode on next Wednesday. If you have any positive stories that you would like to share, please share them to us at upliftingpositivestories@gmail.com, or you can post them on our subreddit, which is Uplift Positive Stories. And you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
And if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below.
That'd be awesome. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week.
And stay positive.